Hello guys, new zones and the 7th zone event got released a couple of days ago, so I'm here to do coverage and clears on the fire zone and the earth zone this time. And the easier one out of the two, which we'll be covering in this video, is the fire zone, at least for me and probably for most of the European players as well, because water units have been much more plentiful than the wind units, which are needed for earth zone. And so for this one, I'm going to be using my free MLB water attackers, Bell, Chigosa, and Eyes. If you don't have free, you can also clear the very hard zone. You don't really need this many of them. I actually cleared this relatively fast, so there's a lot of room for clearing it with even worse units. As for the things you need in the stage, you need your seal and stun resistance like you did in the previous elements. And for seal resistance we have glorious anklets on our Chigusa, Haruhime, and the Eyes. And for stun resistance we have the Misha assist. And then the Bell has the Takemi Kazuchi for 100% ailment resist. And all of the attackers have double crit weapons with preferably 30 strength as well. And I think that's it, so let's go ahead into it. For the sacks, for the sacrificial units, I've decided to go for the Goblin Slayer this time because my party is missing a physical resist debuff, and you definitely want to have that. If you have a Tsubaki instead, you should be using the Winter Tsubaki. You should be using her because she has both a physical resist debuff and a water resist debuff, which if you're using a water team is obviously very great to use. But I had to use another unit for this because none of the main units I have do apply the physical resistance by themselves. And then I also don't have a water resist sack, which is also something you should consider using or can consider using. And then the second sacrificial unit is gonna be Elmina for me. I would also advise using a Line or a Priestess sack for a special gouge increase, but in my case I'm using the Winter Chigusa, which has her own SA gouge buff, so I don't actually need the sacrificial unit as well. But I have been trying some other compositions using also her as a sack and changing it up a little bit, so you have a lot of options. And then another thing that is really kind of crucial probably for clearing it is just having enough debuffs on them and removing their strength buffs when they get applied. And for this I have the Bell. Bell is, I think, the best unit you want to use for this. So if you have him even at like +3 or something, you should probably just use him. So that's it. And the gameplay is pretty much kind of the skill usage is pretty logical, nothing out of the ordinary. So far we've done debuffs, we've buffed our units with their own buffs, and then on turn 4 we're gonna do Haruhime special, and from there on it's just spamming the highest hitting ability and extending debuffs and buffs with Haruhime with her skill free. So we're just gonna go through this and just try to clear it as fast as possible. That's pretty much the plan, I guess. Nothing really special about this. But as I said, you can use any of your high-level water units and you should be able to clear very hard mode, even if you have enough defenses and if you have enough damage, which with 2 high-level water units you should have already. And then just make sure you don't forget to extend your buffs and debuffs with Haruhime. That's probably the most important thing as well, because if you use them you're gonna have to reapply them, and that's waste your time. And other than that, there's one more thing which I can mention. It doesn't come into play for this run for me, because I'm going to clear it relatively fast, so my units don't really run out of mana. But if you have a team comp with a little bit less damage output, you can save your units, the mana pool of your units for the ones that have high costing attacks. If you have no mana regen, you can save those for turns where your unit is not strength or magic debuffed, and those get applied to your units randomly. So you should keep an eye out on that, and if you have problems with your mana, you should always try to use the attacks and also potentially special arts when your units aren't debuffed. But yeah, as I said, we're expecting to clear this in like turn 12 or 13, depending on how much damage we deal and depending on whether or not our main damage dealers get debuffed. So we don't really have mana issues in this case. Okay, let's do one more extension. I think we may have forgotten to do a couple of skill 2s here with Bell, which is also gonna make our clear a little bit slower. I didn't switch back to his skill 2, I think I made a mistake there. I might have to go back and recheck it, but obviously you have as many runs as you want in 7th zone, so anything that you either mess up or like if your units are getting debuffed too often, or one of your units like randomly dies, you can always just reset the run and find your perfect run for your clear. You can always do that as many runs as you want, and you still have, as of the time of the recording, you still have like 20 hours, I think, to clear the event, and then after the 20 hours the 2 other zones will be coming out. The ones that are coming out are Dark Zone again, so for light units, and another one for Thunder units, but right now I kind of forgot which element that is. But basically they want you to use the units that are currently live in the banners, so your Thunder units and your light units are going to be useful there. Okay, so we're getting close. We're gonna do one more turn of just our high hitting AOE skills, and then after that we're gonna do double SA, and that should clear this stage without any major problems. So yeah, that'll be it. As for like doing runs for score, you also have that option, but the rewards aren't really like that great. It's just your values increases a little bit, and resources that can generally be farmed also increase. So I mean rewards. So it's like the most important thing is just to clear the event, clear the stages, and get the ascension materials for your weapons and armor, instead of trying to compete for a high score here, since there's no iris rewards, which is the currency I guess you want. So just make sure you try and clear them somehow to the best of your ability, and that should be that should get you all that you really want. So our SA cleared it here, and we can just check how much score we got. I'm expecting somewhere around 12 to 13 million, which is what we got. And yeah, that's it. I hope you guys found this helpful. I hope you managed to clear your runs. Thank you for watching the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.